Hey everybody, it's Tamara Simons here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. I know how busy you are, and in this video I'm going to tell you the steps to buying your dream home. I understand you may think it's a hard process that you haven't the slightest clue where to begin. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not as complicated as you may think it is. My detailed step-by-step process will outline everything you need to know to get from where you are now to holding the keys to your new home. The first step in buying your dream home is getting pre-approved with a trusted lending professional. And don't worry if you don't have one, I happen to have a roster of trusted lenders that I recommend to my clients. The reason I suggest this being the first step is because meeting with a mortgage professional ensures you will know how much home you can afford, what loan program is going to work best for you, along with what your down payment, if any, will be required, or if you are using a grant program in place of the down payment. There are many factors that go into getting your loan application started. Knowing how much you are willing to pay in terms of what your monthly payment will be. It's disheartening to find a home of your dreams, but it turns out it isn't in a price range you qualify for. This step will ensure that you're not shopping for a home that is outside your qualification. Now the next step is meeting with a realtor such as myself. Now I know life can be very demanding at times and we may not have time to have an in-person meeting, and that's perfectly okay. I'm happy to FaceTime with you, get on a Zoom call, or even just a plain phone call. Whatever is the most convenient for you. Now when we schedule this time, we will discuss a few things, such as where you would like to live, what you would like to have in your home. We will then take all of that information and set you up on a custom automated market listing system. And what this does is send you a daily market listing fitting your criteria from which you and I have already gone over. And in case something comes on market that I don't want you to miss out on seeing, I will send it to you directly, separate from the automated list you are receiving via email. Now, one of the benefits of using my website, which is www.tamarasellsutah.com, once you've found that the homes that you like to see, you can schedule those right there from my website. Or if you're using the utahrealestate.com site, you can do a star rating system there. Therefore, I would know if a 5-star is a favorite or a 1-star, which will tell me it's really not one you care all that much for. The reason I suggest these two sites, or even my mobile site such as Home Scout, is I pay a monthly fee each and every month to ensure the information is accurate and up to date. Not like websites such as Realtor.com or Zillow. Those sites unfortunately are not regulated and the information found there oftentimes is inaccurate. There is nothing more frustrating for you than sending me a message stating how much you love a home and for me to check it out and have to inform you that that home sold over a year ago. Now, we're at the fun part. The home shopping begins. Well, I'll schedule all the showings you request, and after we're walking through each home, we will discuss what you like or you didn't like about the home. Now, with all the new technology, I like to make sure we do this outside the home, as sometimes the sellers have hidden cameras and can hear everything that we say while we're inside their home. And we definitely don't want to be discussing anything such as price or repairs and so forth. We'll shop until we find what you are looking for. So I don't want you worrying about how many homes you feel like you're dragging me to. This is going to be your home and I want you to be happy with your home purchase. Now, once we have found the perfect candidate, we will then devise a strategy to place the best possible offer. This is where we have an in-depth discussion about your earnest money, how much you plan to put down, and what your timeline is for your dates in relation to the contract. We will cover the purchase contract with a fine-tooth comb, and you will know exactly what is happening, and you will understand every step of the process. Now, knowing how everyone nowadays has such busy schedules, technology has made it very convenient for you and I to sign the contract paperwork as needed. I'll send you an email with your offer paperwork to collect those digital signatures. No more trying to figure out a time to meet and sign the dreaded and we have to do these dreaded scans, sign, scan, and then email. The digital signature is very easy. What will happen is I will send you the offer via email. When you open it, it will prompt you to type your name and assign a signature, which then will auto-populate in all the places that are needed. This process literally takes just a couple of minutes to complete. And once it's completed, the signed contract will automatically come back to me. Now, once the offer has been made, which it can take a day or two to get the offer accepted, the seller may do one of three things. They will either accept the contract just as it is, or they could flat out reject it, or the most common is counter your offer with terms that make more sense to them, such as tighten the contract deadlines, not agree to pay closing costs, or they may even say that they want more money in the list price. Anyway, these are the things that the seller can come back with. But once you and the sellers have mutually agreed to terms in the contract, then your offer becomes under contract. Once the offer has been accepted, it's time for you to place the earnest money. The earnest money is your way of showing the seller you are serious about buying their home. Throughout the process, the earnest money is going to be protected or it's going to be at risk. Earnest money is going to be at minimum 1% of the purchase price of the home you are buying. If we happen to be in a multiple offer situation, increasing your earnest money is one way to make your offer stand out from the others. Like I mentioned, your earnest money will either be protected or at risk, and I will explain that in more detail when we place an offer on the house. Now, once we are under contract, our next contract deadline is going to be the seller's disclosures. At this stage, the seller will fill out a document answering select questions to the best of their ability, which will tell us everything they know about the home during their period of ownership. For example, if they remodeled the home, they would include which area of the home was done, the year it was done, and if they experienced any issues, like maybe they had a kitchen drain that wouldn't drain correctly and they had a plumber come out and fix the problem, or exactly what was done to fix it. Once you review and electronically sign the form, then you can and print a copy and take it with you when you meet up with your home inspector and review any items you have questions and or concerns about. Now, the next deadline is our buyer due diligence. This is the time where you as the buyer can have a home inspection. The home inspection, which, just to be transparent, is an out-of-pocket expense to you as a buyer. And it costs between $250 to $350, and it's really depending upon the square footage of the home and the test that you are having performed. Although it's not mandatory, but honestly it is so important, I honestly can't imagine buying a home without having one done. The home inspector will be able to give us an idea of the condition the home is in. Therefore, we are aware the home is in good shape or it's not, and that there are not any issues that we should be concerned about. Home inspections are done by a licensed professional, and all findings will come back to you in a report the inspector will supply to you. At this time, if there are any repairs you would be requesting, we would begin negotiations with the seller. And at that time, once the seller has agreed to perform those repairs, we would move forward at that time before the end of our due diligence period. Or if the repairs are too severe, such as a structural damage, and you're not willing to absorb the cost to fix them, and neither is the seller, we would then cancel the contract before our due diligence deadline is over, and you would get your earnest money back. Now, if we didn't cancel the contract before our deadline date, your earnest money would be at risk and would go to the seller. One thing is, if you are not able to attend the home inspection, I will then set up a FaceTime call or a Zoom meeting so that the home inspector can go over with you what their findings are. Now, our next step is the financing and appraisal deadline. If you are getting a loan for the home, the financing deadline will be parted the same as the appraisal deadline. Now, I will stay in close communications with the lender in regards to your financing and all that is happening, and that you are getting the documentation to the lender and that there isn't anything missing in your file. Now, the appraisal is where the lender will order a third party to go out to the home, where the appraiser will determine the value of the home. Now, this is done by the appraiser comparing the subject property, which is the home you are buying, to comparable homes in the neighborhood that have sold and are the closest in size, condition, etc. Now, there are a few ways the appraisal can come back from the appraiser. It can come back at or above the offer price. For example, you offered $450,000 and the appraisal came back at the price of $460,000, which would now give you $10,000 in equity. Congrats, that's awesome. Now, the next scenario is we can just take that and we can move forward into the next step of the home buying process. Now, if the appraisal comes back below your offer price, your lender, or any lender for that fact, will only fund on when the value is at the appraised value or it's below. And if it's below your offer price, then there are a few ways that we handled this situation. We could, one, ask the seller to reduce the price to the appraised value, or you could bring to the table the difference. Meaning, if you offered $450,000 and the appraised value was only $440,000, you would need to bring an additional $10,000 when closing on the home. Now, if you didn't want to pay more than the home appraised for, and the seller isn't willing to reduce their price and save the deal, we would then cancel the contract and you would get your earnest money back. Now, the appraisal may be an out-of-pocket expense ranging from $450 and up. This is another thing that's also determined by having a discussion with your lender prior to them ordering the appraisal. Now, once the appraisal is all taken care of and your financing is insured, our next deadline would be the settlement deadline. See, we're almost there. We would schedule a pre-settlement walkthrough. This is a very important part of the home buying process. Reason being is the process can take 30 to 45 days to complete. And so much can happen in that time. So we want to ensure the home is in the same condition it was when we originally placed the offer, and the repairs the seller agreed to do were performed. We will sign all documents at the title company, which acts as a third party in the transaction. The escrow officer will guide you through all of the paperwork and explain the significance of each form you sign. Now, it can take 24 to 48 hours before your loan will fund and the title company records the home into your name. Now, lastly, but certainly not least, moving day. The day you have been waiting for since you dreamed of owning your own home. I can't wait for you to have this experience so I can place the keys in your hand. Now, it really is simple, and you can be part of this process. If you'd like an easy, hassle-free experience with as little stress as possible, then this is for you. If you're serious about buying your dream home, then click the link below where you will find a few questions that I have asked for you to answer. Once you have submitted those, I will get in touch with you to discuss how we can turn your dream of owning your home into a dream of your dream home. Thank you again for taking the time to watch this video. I look forward to handing you the keys to your new home.